Roll call vote, please. Or roll call, please.
Commissioner Dixon?
Here.
Commissioner Krushat?
Here.
Commissioner Walker?
Here.
Vice Chair Bahana?
Here.
Chair Mendoza?
Here.
All present?
Thank you. Before we get too much further, if any of you, we have these masks on, so if any of you are having difficulty understanding what we're saying, just give us the signal and we'll try and make it clear. Okay, announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going on the city website and clicking on Meeting Agendas link. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address the Planning Commission on issues within the jurisdiction of the Commission that are not on this agenda. All comments will be directed to the Chair of the Commission and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out name and address slips and give them to the Planning Commission Secretary. The Planning Commission is prohibited by the Brown Act from taking action or discussing at length items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item of the agenda. I have a request. Bill, you wanted to speak on public comments in general? No. Okay. Okay, I'll cross that part out then. And I'm having trouble making out this name. Resides at 69711. Okay. Do you wish to speak on general public comments, or do you want to? Okay. Well, scratch that out then. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on non-agenda public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Consent calendar, which is the minutes from last meeting. Everyone has a copy. You should have received them in your electronic package also. Are there any? Oh, I'm sorry, we did. Commission comments and reports of meetings attended. Leslie, we'll start with you.
Hi, fellow commissioners. I have not attended any meetings since our last.
Okay. Max?
I haven't really attended any meetings. I did go to the Hilltoppers dirt bike race a couple weekends ago. It was a huge turnout for, even with the COVID, it was bigger than I had expected. They had just, I hadn't seen that many people out there since early 2010. So it was very nice to see a lot of people out there and supporting. So
Outstanding. Jason?
I have not attended any meetings as well, but Little League for 29 Palms is fully in effect as of yesterday, so everything seems to be going good.
Outstanding. Jim?
Mr. Chairman, I have not attended any meetings since our last meeting on 19th January.
I have not attended any meetings of public note either. So we will now move into consent calendar. Approval of Planning Commission meeting minutes of January 19th, 2001. You all have a copy. Are there any questions, corrections, deletions on the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve minutes as read.
I have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Dixon?
Aye.
Commissioner Krushat?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
aye.
Vice Chair Bahana?
Aye.
Chair Mendoza?
Aye.
5-0 approved.
We have no items removed from the consent calendar, so we'll move into the installation of the Planning Commission and the swearing in of Planning Commissioners, and I will turn this over to our City Clerk to do the swearing in ceremony.
You will raise your right hand, and after I say aye, you will state your name and then repeat after me the following. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
Very good. Jim, you have to sign. If either of you would like to take a couple minutes and say anything about yourself that you wish to, now's the time to do so. You've been sworn in, and shortly we'll start the swearing at. So, I'll start with you, Leslie. Is there anything you wish to say?
Thank you, City Council, for the chance at another 4 years, and I hope to do the city well. I appreciate everybody in attendance today. I appreciate any participation from the public. We can't do this without you. We are here for you, public servants, so look forward to anything we could do, put forth. Our team is amazing out here, planning team, dedicated. We're just here to help grow the way that we want to, and I just really appreciate this opportunity.
Jim?
Oh, the only thing I would say is that, yes, I've enjoyed the last 4 years of working to help this community and working with an outstanding staff on the city, and I look forward to another positive and promising 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we shall move into the next item on our agenda, PC 2055, site plan.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
The election of,
Oh, I'm sorry, God. Okay, excuse me. Election of the Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair. I will open the floor to nominations.
Mr. Chairman, you've done an outstanding job, but I would like to nominate Leslie Pahana for our new chairman, and I'd like to nominate Jason Dixon for vice chair.
Leslie, would you accept that nomination?
I would.
Jason?
I would.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to elect Leslie Pahana as chair and Jason Dixon as vice chair. Any further discussion? All those in favor, or roll call vote, please.
Okay. Commissioner Dixon? I'm sorry, Vice Chair. Vice Chair Dixon.
No, I heard you. I was just taking that dramatic pause.
Take it as, sorry.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Cruciat?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Commissioner Mendoza?
Aye.
And Chair Pahana?
Aye.
That's going to take some getting used to.
Okay, I guess we need to play swap-o seats. No, you can stay there. I'll move down. I present you the gavel. Good luck. Chair is all yours.
Change them all around.
Do you need me to recall it to order? Or?
No.
No, okay. This is a great perspective. You all set and ready, Commissioner Mendoza?
Commissioner Mendoza is more than ready.
All right, let's proceed into public hearing number 4, PC 20-55, site plan and design review for the grocery outlet. I'll turn this over to Mr. Travis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's going to take some getting used to as well. And I'm going to apologize to the applicant up front. We have go-to-meeting set up and the number dialed in, but somehow it doesn't look like something anyone's be able to get through, but hopefully we won't need it. They've done a very thorough job here. This is PC case 20-55. It's a site plan and review for grocery outlet. The applicant is Best Development Group, and we do have Carl Best in the audience here if you have any questions. Location of this project is 71722 29 Palms Highway. That's on the northeast corner of 29 Palms Highway and Encilia Avenue. There are 3 parcels involved for approximately 5.4 acres. The land use designation is general commercial, and the property is not in a flood zone. This is a location map of the property here outlined in red. You can see the 3 parcels involved. To the north, you have the Marriott Fairfield. To the west is a single-family home. To the south is the Stater Brothers Shopping Center. And to the east remains undeveloped property. This is the land use map. You can see by the red color that the property is zone commercial general, and so are all the properties around it. The proposal is to turn the vacant property, has some desert scrub with a little bit of disturbed area that was likely done when the Marriott was constructed, and turn it into a 16,000 square foot commercial building to house a grocery store and associated parking, landscaping, and stormwater management. The entire property, as mentioned, is about 5.4 acres. But the proposed project would be only develop 2.5 acres of the site. As far as circulation goes, the applicant would install curb gutter and sidewalk along any portion of 29 Palms Highway that does not have it, as well as Encilia Avenue. Most of Encilia Avenue has it, but it will be reconfigured for this site plan. There will be an easement provided to extend the access drive. That's just south of the Marriott. Located on the north part of the property, east for future access to Encilia Avenue. Sidewalks would be provided from the store to 29 Palms Highway and Encilia Avenue. One note here, a raised median is going to be installed by the city along this stretch of 29 Palms Highway to approximately 150 feet east of the project entrance. This is part of an overall safety project for Route 62. As you will recall, the first phase was the installation of sidewalks on the south side, Route 62 from Encilia Avenue to La Rea. This is a second phase, and there will be many more phases to extend sidewalks and medians from Encilia all the way to Donnell Hill. Overall site plan shown here, the green areas, that's the location of the grocery store. The blue area would be the remaining out parcel, and the sort of salmon color area here is kind of a flood channel, stormwater basin for the site. I've got a little bit of blow up here to make it a little bit easier to see. The dark colored green here is the building footprint. And the medium green color here is the landscape areas of the property, and the light colored green are the travelways and the parking areas for the property. And again, the salmon color here is essentially a stormwater basin. The site does receive a lot of stormwater from the west, which currently goes through the site. So this captures it and holds it, detains it before it makes its way to the flood control channel further east. As far as landscaping, the applicant is using the Go Native landscaping palette, drought-tolerant native landscaping. It will be installed all on the perimeter of the project and parking areas with materials such as desert agave, purple smoke tree, sugar bush, sweet broom, blue palo verde, and pinyon pine. Staff has been encouraging smoke trees to be planted in this area as specimen trees because this area of the city is known as smoke tree. So it'd be good to have a few of those in the landscaping. This is an illustrative landscape plan that you can see here. It's kind of shade trees there where the parking areas are, and ornamental shrubs and bushes more along the perimeter of the site. On the side of architecture, per the guidelines, the applicant has broke up the massing of the building with protrusions and recesses on the sidewalls and canopies on the front facade. The applicant also, per the guidelines, has incorporated elements of the high desert adobe style we're encouraging in town. These include the desert colors, and you should have a copy of the color and material board in front of you. Front canopies, the barrel tile roof, vigas on the walls, and some decorative ironwork. And these are some elevations of the building. This would be the east side of the structure. As you're going west, this is the front of the building, or the south side. And then this is the rear and the west side of the building. So I do want to compliment the architect. I think they've done a great job of kind of including some of the local architectural flavor into the building and making a building that's really unique and fits into 29 Palms. On the CEQA side, per the guidelines, an initial study was prepared for the project. This was too large. It did not qualify for an exemption. Staff has reviewed the initial study and the proposed project and has determined that any significant potential impacts can be mitigated to less than significant level. There is a whole series of mitigation measures, and they're included in the conditions of approval for this project. So staff does propose the commission adopt a mitigated negative declaration. So our recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the resolution, which adopts the mitigated negative declaration and approves the site plan and design subject to the conditions of approval. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
We'll start with you, Max. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions this time.
Mr. Mendoza?
I have no questions at this time.
Mr. Krushat?
No questions at this time.
Mr. Jason?
I have no questions as well.
I have a question. Is, on the side of the building, is that a parking lot for staff? Or, because it just seems like that's a driveway with path, or is that for use of like patrons as well?
I think both. There's no designated staff parking. Probably would more likely be used to staff because it's near the entrance, and the lots to the south would be kind of more of the public.
Right, because I guess the way that it's flowing, I wouldn't, unless you're coming like down Encilia towards the 62, you may go in there, but this is where trucks are exiting as well.
Right, and so we discussed this with the applicant, and city and the applicant felt it was best to have a sort of a separate truck delivery entrance.
Oh,
to
I agree, yeah.
To the main one and not mix the traffic.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering why, like, what the purpose of that, blocking that off, because it seems kind of like, once you get in there, you just have to exit out that way. It's like a, like a one in out.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second question was, can you show me where that median is going?
Ugh. I would probably have to bring up,
Like a Google map? I didn't mean to
Yeah.
make that too difficult, but it's on Encilia, or
Yeah.
it's on the 62?
it's on Route 62. I have it up.
Perfect.
So
See?
it would
Well-
start on Encilia and go to probably about 150 feet, like I said, east of the drive. So that drive would become a right-in, right-out, and I'm sure that would be a condition of the encroachment permit for Caltrans.
Okay, so it'll have the left-hand turn and probably start like in the middle where most people are going in to make that
Yeah,
turn
they're,
on.
you know, based on the traffic volumes, they would have enough stacking space in the left turn lane to get into Encilia Drive.
Okay.
And then also the right turn lane, you know, going north towards the shopping.
And I noticed the speed limit signs on the 62 coming into town have changed because of the road construction. Is there intention to keep it, like pace it out to be slower than 60 when you're coming into the 50s? Are those permanent signs now?
Those aren't permanent signs, so any kind of change in the speed limit would be a Caltrans
Okay.
decision, yeah. But having the median there would prevent some of the conflicting left turns that are happening now, where you do have left turn lanes exiting into a left turn lane.
So essentially your route into the grocery outlet, if you are coming from, let's say, Lupine towards Encilia, you would just make that right. But if you're coming from town, would it be best to turn into Encilia, or you'll have a left-hand turn lane? The median won't be in the way when you're already on the 62.
So if you're coming east from town, you'd probably take the right in, right out to enter. Depending on which direction, if you wanted to go back east, you would go out in Celia and make a left there at the light.
At the light, okay.
Yeah.
And if you're coming into town, if you missed Encilia, there's a median, you wouldn't be able to make that left?
Right, you would have to go down and make a U-turn at some point.
So you'd go down to the next light at
Larea,
Lorea?
yeah.
Okay. And is that a current, I'm sorry to ask this, if it's a current U-turn there, you can?
You know, I'm not sure, I don't think it is, because I don't think it's quite wide enough.
Right, and that's just a question that I had, that if you missed it, what are we gonna cause when people are like, oh, no, there it went?
You could also turn left on Lupine
Yeah,
and turn around on Lupine
yeah.
and make the right back out.
Right, which, I mean, we don't wanna guide people towards residential just to make that, yeah,
Right.
turn in there. Those are just some things after you mentioned where they'd be, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. If there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing.
Sure.
I don't see anybody wanting to speak on this agenda item unless I have the
There
paper.
should be one, I think.
I see 5. Just to check the crowd, anybody on Zoom wanted to talk, or? We'll have you fill out a yellow slip. I didn't receive yours if you're speaking.
Okay, I apologize, I
Okay.
didn't do that. My name is Carl Best of Best Development Group. I'm at 2580 Sierra Boulevard, Sacramento, California. And I think we have on the call all of our consultants, our architect, our engineer, I believe is here, and we have our traffic engineer and the CEQA consultant, and we also have 2 representatives from Grocery Outlet. If there's any questions by the commission, we'd be happy to address those. But Mr. Clark presented it better than we could, so we're here to see if you have any questions.
The only question I had was that designated parking, why it's like crosswalk off, and it's just intended that you would go that same route the trucks are going into?
You mean on the west side of the building?
Yes, right, yeah, that'll
Yeah,
work.
I
Just curious of the intention of that.
you know, the architects working directly with Mr. Clark worked out the circulation of the trucks along with Grocery Outlet, and there's 2 different kinds of delivery trucks, I believe. So I think that's the reason for that, is to not having conflicting pedestrian traffic and delivery trucks. Yeah, Oz? This is our engineer.
My name is Oz. I'm with Saxon Engineering, and I'm here to answer your question about why we have basically a dead end there. Is one of the reasons was to, when people wanted to wanted to get out of the parking lot, you know, trying to make a left turn, that would be a stacking issue. It will create a traffic jam for coming in and going out of the grocery outlet. Also, another part is when there's cars are stacking, Caltrans is worried that that might affect the Highway 62. So that's why we made that parking lot just, you can't, it'll be just a dead end.
Okay.
So short answer, additional stacking here in this area here.
Yeah.
Okay. As well as the sidewalk connection is nice too.
Yes, that's, yeah. Okay, did we have anybody else in the public who wanted to speak? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And bring it up back to us. Commissioners, do you guys have any other questions, any concerns? With nothing, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt the mitigated negative declaration and approve the
Site
site plan and site plan review and
Design.
design review.
Thank you.
And I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Krushat,
Aye.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Aye.
Commissioner Walker,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dixon,
Aye.
Chair Pahana,
Aye.
5-0 approved.
Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it.
Look forward to you being open.
Okay, we'll move on to our next public hearing, number 5, the appeal of vacation home rental, VHR 168. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Travis.
Diane Olson will be presenting this case.
Thank you, Ms. Diane.
Good evening, Commissioners. So this case is PC 2106, the appeal of a vacation home rental permit. The VHR applicant is Patrick Kane, and the appellant to the VHR application are Ryan and Tricia Waddell. The VHR location is 73010 Manana Drive. That is just east of Mesquite Springs Road. It's a .49 acre lot, and it's zoned residential single family, 4 dwelling units per acre. This is the location, so you can see, and the appellant lives just to the east. So these are just a couple of photos of the VHR location. So the appellants have cited the following reasons for the basis for the appeal. They believe there is a potential danger to children in the neighborhood. They did not choose to live in what they consider a commercial area, and potential noise from existing vacation home rentals. There are 2 permitted vacation home rentals on the street to the north of them. There have been no complaints to the Code Enforcement Division regarding this property or to the other 2 permitted VHRs in the neighborhood. The VHR applicant has submitted all the required documents for the application. So the application is complete. The safety inspection has been completed, and the applicant is in compliance with all the requirements for the VHR permit application. If there are any issues with the approval of the permit, so the remediations would be to cite the application for those violations, to not renew the permit based on the violations, or to revoke the permit based on those violations. Staff's recommendation would be to deny the appeal and approve the application for the vacation home rental.
Okay.
So just one note, we did receive a complaint last week regarding the fence at the VHR location, but the applicant has corrected that violation, has brought the fence down to the correct height.
Okay. Thank you,
So,
Mr. Young.
I'll be happy to answer any questions after the public comment.
Okay, commissioners, do you have any questions? Jason?
I have no questions.
Jim?
No questions.
Mr. Mendoza?
One question, I don't know, we have not received any complaints to the code enforcement. Have there any complaints that we know of from the sheriff's office?
No, not aware of any complaints to the sheriff's office.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Max?
No questions at this time.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. We do have requests to speak, and I'll just go as they were handed to me. So if we can have Anita?
Point of order, Madam Chair. I would ask the appellate to speak first.
Okay, Miss Anita, if we can have the appellant speak first.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay,
Perfect,
thank
yeah.
you. Thank you, Mr. Mendoza.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Hi,
So congratulations on the new chair and vice chair there.
thank you.
So our thing that we're looking at is, we just recently realized about the whole vacation home rentals with the two behind us. So there have been issues with the two behind us with loud parties. In their description of their house rules, it says no parties, but in their little thing that they add, they said rent the house right next door to have a large party. So that's part of our thing of, okay, what is it? Is your house rules no parties, or rent both houses next to each other for a large party? The one house has a pool in the backyard, and there have been people out there partying until after 11:30, and I didn't know about the whole complaining process to that until just recently, when the one came up next to us. At the same time with this one, there's also another VHR that got requested for across the street that we also have appealed at that time also for that one. But when we bought this house, we weren't buying next to Motel 6, Holiday Inn, any of that. We bought in a residential neighborhood. We checked the residential neighborhood for registered offenders in the neighborhood. There is 53 houses, I believe, in that neighborhood. And if this one's approved, that'd make the percentage at 5.66% VHRs in the neighborhood, not including the other one that's up for VHR also. So with that, we have 3 small children that, want to ride their bikes, want to be able to do stuff outside, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable with that. With different people coming in, yes, it's a 2-day rental minimum, but, I don't see what the difference is between a motel and then them doing it right there at their house next to that. Am I forgetting anything?
Our main concern is just the safety of our children and the noise and the traffic aside, it's just the safety of our children. We don't know who's gonna be staying next to us day in and day out. And just how many vacation rentals in one neighborhood is enough? It's a small neighborhood with three streets on it, 4 if you count 2 Mile. There's another one that, like you said, that's requested for a permit now, and there's rumor that there's gonna be at least 2 more. So how many vacation rentals in one small neighborhood is enough? At some point, there has to be some kind of regulation on them. So I don't know what the decision here today will be. We were told that it would probably be approved, regardless of any appeal we filed, so we're just here, we wrote a letter expressing our concerns, and I don't know what else to say, so.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then the applicant are they here? Did you want to go ahead and speak? Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner, and congratulations.
Thank
I just
you.
have a few remarks here. So I'm a brand-new homeowner. This is my first home. This is our first home, and we care a lot about our neighborhood and our home. We are trying to be as respectful as possible with our neighbors and to the city, into the city that, and the laws that govern us. I'm a former Marine who currently works as a government contractor. Due to the nature of my work, I travel throughout the year. To offer my family additional financial support, we would like to rent our home to guests as a short-term vacation rental. This is our primary home, and it will contain our belongings. As a result, we will be very careful with who we allow in our home. For example, we will have multiple cameras and rules in place to make sure our home and neighborhood is kept safe and secure. So to address a few of the concerns that were presented, I have a number of things here. So as far as safety goes, currently we have cameras aligned on our property, east, west, the back, and the front. We will know who is in our home at all times and what they're doing if any problem arises. Number 2, we have a fence that lines our property and blocks the view into our neighbor's yard, backyard, as well as the front. There is no way for the guest to interact with the neighbor unless either party goes around our fence onto the neighboring front yard. Both our backyard and the neighbor's backyard are enclosed and provides no access to entry. Number 3, we have a 3-bedroom home. We will only allow 6 people to stay in the home at once. We will be able to verify who is coming in our home and who is leaving with our doorbell camera as well as our other cameras. Number 4, all guests need to be verified through ID and background reviews prior to stays on the specific platform. We're looking at either Airbnb, potentially putting on Airbnb or VBRO. Let's see. So we're looking at those 2 platforms. For example, Airbnb as hosts rate the guest after each stay. We will only allow guests who have been reviewed and verified through ID to stay at the home. And then B, loud noise. We're not allowing any parties whatsoever. Number 2, we will have a strict policy on noise. For example, no loud music or noise after 8 p.m. on weekdays and weekends. Number 3, we will have access to our live stream video cameras so we can check into these cameras at any point. And we'll be able to hear sounds and anyone that's disturbing or creating any problems. In addition to that, number 4, if noise does become an issue and we warn the guest and it continues, we'll have the person who's going to clean our house, we're going to make sure that she'll be able to go to the home, remind the guest, and if that continues, then we'll have to tell the guest to leave. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, Commissioners, do you have any questions for him? I know it's not, if anybody did. Okay, thank you, I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Commissioner.
Okay, so now we'll move into our slips, and Miss Anita, thank you for patiently waiting.
Good afternoon, Commissioner, congratulations. Sorry, I was getting prepared for this. My name's Anita Pecky. I am the Community and Employee Engagements Specialist for the Desert Beacon here locally. I'm here today on behalf of short-term rentals and the petition against them in the city of 29 Palms. Joshua Tree National Park recorded to have over 3 million visitors last year during COVID. So I want to express to you the positive benefits of short-term rentals. We have rentals from 29 Palms, Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, Pioneer Town, and so on. Our high desert communities don't have the resources to sustain the number of visitors that come here from all around the world to admire our magical Joshua trees. And all those family and friends who come to visit one of the largest military marine bases in the world, which has 12,500 active duty and 24,000 family members and another 21,000 DoD contractors. Desert Beacon provides short-term rentals to those who visit here, and they also provide employment to many locals like myself. Our motto is to book local, stay local, and shop local. We encourage our customers to stay within the area in an effort to boost the economy with what we just dealt with over this last year. Our high desert community is really important to us. Many of our occupants are families from around the world. They come here to visit their families and friends at the base, as well as they come to visit the national park. These occupants enjoy the comfort of being in someone's home. They enjoy a home-cooked meal. Given this, I would like to end this by saying we are not a booking platform, nor are we a cancer to the community. We are actually a community resource. And in addition, I just kind of want to add that, you know, our partnership with the noise awareness to prevent the noise issues, you know, we support that. So I want to say thank you to the 29 Palms Planning Commission. Feel free to stop by to our office there on Split Rock here in 29, as well as our new lobby that will be right next door to the bakery that will be opening soon. So come by and have some coffee and tea. And thank you again for your time. Be well.
Thank you. Our next, Mr. Bill Easter.
Hello.
Hi.
Just to be transparent here, I was on the planning commission for many years, like Greg Mendoza, when basically the vacational rental thing came in front of the planning commission. I was part of that. And at that time, I did agree with vacational rentals, and I voted yes for vacational rentals. And it's not all about the noise. The noise complaints that do come about, when they get resolved, it's always after the fact. It's, you know, 2 days later, someone addresses it, or the people that written the vacational rentals are already gone. And they may never even come back, so then you get another batch, and then you gotta readdress noise issues. And so anyway, Palm Springs recently went through this themselves, and I don't know if anybody's ever made contact with Palm Springs to find out why they changed their ordinance down in Palm Springs, where a caretaker actually has to live on the property now. And I would assume part of it is because of the noise that came about. And I wish the planning commission would take that up, if they haven't taken that up, and did a moratorium on vacational rentals in the future, and just put a stop on them until we find out, you know, for example, like communities like La Quinta and Palm Springs have changed their ordinances on vacational rentals. There must have been a problem down there for them to change what they did. And then again, how many is too many in a neighborhood? A neighborhood, you think, is a bunch of people that, you know, live in that neighborhood, you know, cohesively, they belong to that neighborhood, but we're really changing the character of the neighborhoods and turn them to essentially, like Ryan said, like a motel. And you don't know who's in that neighborhood now. And they do have 3 kids. And also, to be transparent, Trisha's my daughter. So just so everybody knows that too. So I would like the planning commission, and by the way, once we did that, once we approved the ordinance for vacational rentals, there was supposed to be a review and a study a year later. I don't know if that ever happened. Greg is saying yes, so I'm gonna take his word that it did happen. And so I've been on the planning commission, so I know how tough these decisions are. And even when the study session occurred, for example, I'm sure there was a lot of consideration into the vacational rentals. But beyond the noise, there's other problems that's happening within our communities. You cannot buy a 3-bedroom house now for under $170,000. They're getting very expensive. So, and what happens with these vacational rentals, people from LA or San Diego, they come and buy up these homes in our community, they redevelop them, and now the home market just rises. I think that's a problem for people on the lower end of that economic scale. And I think that needs to be looked at. And again, I'd like to know how many is too many in that neighborhood. Like they said, there's 2 behind them right now. There's a proposal for one across the street. What street is that, El Paseo? Homestead. There's the one next beside them. The neighbors on the other side of them live in San Diego, and they're fixing that place up on the outside that looks like it's gonna turn into a vacational rental. And so what's that, 5 in their immediate area? What is the number? I hope someone can address that at some point. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Jennifer Ruggiero?
Good afternoon, and thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I got it all. I'm here to support the appeal for VHR number 168, located at 73010 Manana Drive. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And for the following reasons. As of April 15th, there are 124 VHR permits issued for 29 Palms, representing about 2% of single-family homes. These permits tend to cluster in neighborhoods such as Indian Cove and Hanson Track, impacting the quality of life for full-time residents. Indian Cove accounts for approximately 6.6% of single-family residents in the city, but 7.6% of current VHR permits, with 2 permits pending. The majority of the Indian Cove VHRs are within a 2 to 3 block radius, negatively impacting full-time residents with increased traffic, noise, and litter. In addition to clusters of VHRs affecting neighborhood quality of life, VHRs are also impacting the availability of quality long-term rental housing. This is having an adverse effect on area businesses. In a recent business mixer sponsored by the MDLT, business owners complained of employee shortages due to the lack of affordable rental housing. Preserve 29 Palms, which is our group, which we have a petition currently on change.org, and our signatures are rising rapidly, acknowledges that there aren't sufficient hotel and motel accommodations to meet the needs of visitors to 29 Palms and Joshua Tree National Park. Short-term vacation home rentals are a great way to meet this need. However, limits are necessary to protect the character of our desert neighborhoods. Accordingly, we request that 29 Palms place an immediate moratorium on issuing new permits in impacted neighborhoods and consider the following revisions to existing VHR policy and management. 1, restricting the number of VHR permits issued based on a percentage of single-family residence housing stock. Preserve 29 Palms suggested 5%, which allows for 3% growth based on current statistics. Limit future VHR density in neighborhoods and roll back VHRs in already impacted neighborhoods. We suggest a limit of 1 VHR per 4-block radius. Preserve 29 Palms suggests that 1 VHR for 4-block radius in neighborhoods where the lot size is under 2.5 acres. 3, the city provided dedicated phone line. This is a very important one. The city provided dedicated phone line for VHR complaints and log complaints in a publicly accessible web page. Requests for VHR permits in 29 Palms are on the rise. In addition to the 124 current permits, there are 19 pending applications. We, the undersigned, ask that the 29 Palms City Council join other local communities such as Cathedral City, which is phasing them out as of 2023, Rancho Mirage, and Palm Desert in addressing the concerns of its residents by revising the VHR policy to protect the long-term rental market, the fabric of our community in our neighborhoods, and the quiet desert life we treasure in 29 Palms. One of the most important things I would like to go back and say again is there is no dedicated hotline where residents can file complaints. That's why you don't have any complaints. You don't have a list of complaints for the most part, because people don't know what to do. I'm on social media all the time. I'm talking to my neighbors in Indian Cove all the time. We have 2 problem VHRs. One is on Alta Loma, permit number 100, and one is on Indian Cove Avenue, and there's more to come. People don't know what to do when there's a party or there's a bunch of people drinking alcohol or smoking pot in the driveway and cars racing around and loud music and pool parties. They don't know what avenue to take. That needs to be addressed. If nothing else is done, that needs to be addressed so that people have a number they can call other than the number for the VHR permitted person who owns the house. And the city needs to log that, and it needs to be available to the community so that we have something to look at when reviewing these issues. Right now, there is nothing, because people, they're clueless, most of them. I know what to do, but most people don't. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Patrick Kane? You already spoke? Okay. Yeah, you're the applicant. Thank you. I'm going to say this says Cindy Bernard. Okay. Is it Bernard? Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cindy Bernard. I'm a resident of 29 Palms, and with Jennifer, I'm the co-founder of Preserve 29 Palms. And we wrote that petition, which is, as we said, available on change.org. I think it has more than 260 signatures right now, and 100 of those happened in the last 3 days. My family's been in Indian Cove since 1961, and my grandfather, William Adams, participated in the formation of 29 Palms. I'm speaking in support of the appeal submitted by Ryan and Tricia Waddell on the VHR plan for their neighborhood. The fabric of our neighborhoods is being torn apart by short-term vacation rentals. How can you create long-lasting neighbor relationships when your neighbors are changing every 2 days? In the High Desert Star article about the appeal, city staff are quoted as saying, "The property owner has complied with city requirements. City staff has recommended planners deny the appeal." Owner compliance with city requirements cannot continue to be the only criteria considered by the Planning Commission. I urge the Planning Commission to also consider neighborhood impact, including how many STVHRs are already permitted in the vicinity of the application. There should be no more than one VHR within a few blocks of any other VHR. If the density is so great that the neighborhood is affected, why can't the applicant be placed on a waiting list with the permit approved when other VHRs in the neighborhood don't renew or are closed? And my understanding is a fair percentage of permits that have happened since the VHR rule happened have been closed or they do phase out. Not everybody stays in the market forever. Even though the citywide number of VHRs doesn't seem excessive right now, the way they are clustering is disrupting our neighborhoods as evidenced by the appeal before the commission today. Our petition requesting citywide and neighborhood limits on short-term vacation home rentals has more than 260 signatures, as I said, 100 since Friday. Our movement to request limits is growing, and we would love the opportunity to discuss our proposals with the city. But today we request that you put the permit requested for 73010 Manana Drive on a waiting list. Or at least wait to approve it until you can study the neighborhood impact. I'm going to read, for the time I have left, a few comments that we've received on our petition. Just cut me off when I've reached it. This is Andrea Brookins. "No one is actually renting their houses to people who work here. I have 2 adult children working full-time in my home, and they can't find a house anywhere. Why? Because they are all being bought to turn into Airbnbs." This is Sharon Ellis. "Vacation rentals are turning quiet and residential neighborhoods into noisy business districts and destroying options for those who want or need to rent a home." NJ Sundquist. "Signing now based on rather scary statistics, unregulated VHRs have the potential to supersede family neighborhoods like ours because we're so close to the park. Just asking for a little sanity." Pat Howarth. "I know a family that is one step from being homeless. She has lived in Morongo Basin her whole life. She owns a salon in Yucca Valley, but she cannot find affordable housing in the area. With wealthy outsiders outbidding her every time, if she cannot find a home, she will have to move away from the area where she grew up." Craig Tyler. "Way too many short-term rentals, leaving locals a lack of affordable housing." James Atkins. "We need balance. People can't rent housing anymore in this town." Suzanne Wood. "Too many short-term rentals means the local residents gets priced out of their homes and out of their communities." Heidi Hurd. "We need to protect our community. Locals and our military families cannot find places to rent or buy. There needs to be a limit in the city as well as in the neighborhoods." I think that was my beep.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, I appreciate your comment. Anybody else would like to speak on the issue? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Bringing it back up to the commissioners. Mr. Mendoza?
I have several responses. I've been a resident since 1967. I've currently been in the house I'm in now for over 30 years. We've had multiple long-term rentals in that neighborhood, and we have had multiple long-term issues with some of those renters, including known drug dealers, known pedophiles, and it has taken us as long as 2 years to get those people out of the neighborhood. I now have a vacational rental, not right next door, but the second house up. And I cannot tell you when it is rented or when it is not rented. Neither can the neighbors immediately adjacent to them or directly across the street. We've had 0 parties, we've had 0 issues. And personally, I would welcome more in that neighborhood. Again, I have far more problems with long-term rentals, with poor tenants, than short-term. Second of all, every VHR on a permit has a number that you can call. And the person who is responsible for that has to be able to physically respond to the property within 1 hour. Bates here has a lady who is going to not only clean it, but will act as caretaker. She has to be able to respond in 1 hour. If there's noise, you not only can call that number, but the sheriff's office. I've had to call for noise in my neighborhood again at long-term rentals. And the sheriff's office responds as quickly as they can, depending on what other calls they have. But I hear all the time, there's complaints, there's noise, there's traffic. We have not had any complaints to the sheriff's office or to code enforcement. So I don't know where these are occurring and why they're not being reported. We looked at putting in a dedicated line when we first did this. We talked to one of the cities down below that they were contracting with a company for that line. And in the 2 years that they had their ordinance in place by that time, at that time, they had not received one call to that line. And they were paying well over $100 a month for that service. That was one of the reasons why we didn't put that in. It is something that can be added. However, your issues are appreciated. Your issues are not with the commission. Your issues are with the city council. We have to enforce the ordinance as it is. It doesn't put any limits in neighborhoods, and I'm not saying it shouldn't, but that is a city council issue. And until that is changed, until the commission gets direction to review, rewrite, or change, we have to enforce the code as it's written. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
My understanding is that recently, in order to bring anything before the city council, there's now a $300 fee for a second appeal. That's the cost of having an appeal to the city council.
You don't have to make an appeal to the city council. You can speak at a city council meeting, asking them to address this, any issue. And I believe they have a meeting about this, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
they do.
Yes.
And they've not issued any.
No, but there was a plan to have a follow-up meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
So in that meeting, you don't have to do an appeal.
But if they want to appeal the decision, it's a $300 fee.
I understand that. I'm not talking about appealing this one. I'm talking about the contents of the ordinance is directed by the city council. We cannot unilaterally act to change that code unless we are told to by the city council. We work for the city council. The city. I don't have an answer to that.
So is the fee not run through the planning commission?
No fees, we don't deal with fees at all. We deal with land use. Fees, permit fees, any type of fee is handled by the city council based on recommendation and research from staff.
Thank you, Ms.
Again, just to reiterate, what our personal feelings may or may not be about vacation home rentals, as with any land use item, we have to follow the codes as they are written. There are codes that I don't care for personally, but if it meets the code, I have to approve it.
Thank you, Mr. Mendoza.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you helping out with those answers. Max?
I don't have anything at this time.
Mr. Krushat?
No, the only thing I would like to add is that, we've had this regulation, or this ordinance in for 6 years. And I fall back to the same thing. It's how many complaints have you had? If something is really egregious, if you have a vacation home rental and the conduct is really egregious, yes, you can call the sheriff's department, you can come and complain afterwards to the city so that we have something on file. Right now, we don't have anything on file, and you can't sit there and tell a person, no, you can't have a vacation home rental because we think you're gonna be noisy, or we think you're gonna bring on people, okay? And to follow up Commissioner Mendoza's, we have to go with what the ordinance is as written. Now, the ordinance also states that the agent or owner shall ensure that the occupants of the short-term rental do not create an unreasonable noise or disturbance, engage in disorderly conduct, violate provisions of the municipal code or any state law pertaining to noise, disorderly conduct, overcrowding, the consumption of alcohol, or the use of illegal drugs. Owners are expected to take measures necessary to abate disturbances, including but not limited to directing the tenant, calling for law enforcement services, or city code enforcement officers, evicting the tenant, or any other action necessary to immediately abate the disturbance. That's in the ordinance. But I don't see anybody taking advantage of that codicil that's in the ordinance. Make the complaint. Give the city something so they can revoke the license. That's all I'm saying. I live in an area, a rural living area. I have vacation home rentals on all sides of me. And I've seen homes get improved. I haven't had a problem. I know that's not the same experience of others, but I would only ask those others, make the complaints so that the city has something. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Jason? No, we're gonna, we close the public hearing, but as Mr. Mendoza had mentioned, if you have further concerns, we can't address those particular concerns in this meeting right now, but you can address that with the city council. In your public comment, we did note that your suggestions for, when you spoke, that we all heard them and, we'll consider. Email. You can email or call, yes.
I have nothing.
Okay, if we are concluded, did you want to show us something on the screen here?
Yeah, I just, in addition to calling code enforcement with a complaint, that's obviously kind of the best way to go, because then we do have a record for it in our file. We do, under the city's website, services, code enforcement. There's actually a way to make an online complaint and to do it anonymously. You have the ability to put your name in, but also to do it anonymously. So I think one of the comments was, hey, do you have a log with this? So this is new technology that we just implemented. We'll be implementing it throughout all departments. So it will allow citizens to report violations to code enforcement through this interface.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so we've heard our public hearing. Do I have anything for the motion?
I make a motion, we deny the appeal and approve the applicant's process as written.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Krushat?
Aye.
Commissioner Mendoza?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Vice Chair Dixon?
Aye.
Chair Pahana?
Aye.
That would be 5-0 to deny the application for appeal and to approve the vacation home rental.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to discussion and potential action items. We have none. Our Community Development Director updates?
Sure. I have a few for you this evening. First of all, Project Phoenix. As you can see, there's been lots of progress on the site work that's going on, installation of curb, gutter, paving, and parking lots. Just waiting for the clear out. So, like I mentioned, lots of progress. You can actually sort of physically see it change every day that at least I swing by and visit. Also, the construction of the public buildings have started. The utilities are being installed, as well as the footers for the community center. So lots of progress there. Probably by June, you will see framing going up of the building. So literally.
Madam Chairman, I can't hear, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, is there a
yeah.
private meeting going back there?
Sorry. If you guys would like, you don't have to hang out. You're more than welcome to speak outside the, yes. Yeah, you're all set for the meeting. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.